Good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday to everyone. How's everybody doing this glorious Sunday? Hope everybody's doing well. Thank you for joining me today. As usual, I'm super happy to have all of you here. Just give me a thumbs up if the volume is okay for you guys. I think it should be all right, hopefully. Not too hot, I hope. I mean, the volume. Let me just get things set up here very quickly. All right. We're good to go. So happy Sunday to everybody. We have a good group of people already in the house. Nice to see everybody this glorious Sunday morning. I'm going to adjust my seat so you can, there we go. All right. So today's show number 38. We're getting to the 40s, guys. That's going to be a momentous show. Hopefully that Sunday show, maybe we can do something special on that show. Who knows? Maybe get a special guest there or something like that. That would be nice. So I want to say thank you to everybody that have been watching the Addicted to Gear channel religiously. That's 14,798 thank yous that I'm sending out to you guys. So I appreciate that. Here comes my nosy dog. There she is, just barging in. What are you doing? What are you doing here? Hey, you came to fall asleep during my show. I think she came to fall asleep during my show. Yeah. You want to sleep during the show? Okay, no problem. You can stay. Anyways, she's my best friend, She comes around and stays with me wherever I go. So I'm never disappointed to see her, even though she snores during my live events. So anyways, yeah, so a big thank you to everyone who's been watching my show. I really do appreciate that. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content that I've been putting up. There's going to be more stuff coming. So, if you haven't been keeping up with the videos, please do. I want to say a big thank you to the sponsors of the show, Custom Guitar Picks. I ordered a set, so I can't wait for them to arrive. Hopefully they'll arrive soon. If you haven't gotten a set of custom picks for yourself yet, check them out. They got some pretty cool stuff. The link is down below. So with Labor Day weekend here, I figured today maybe we'd have less people in on the event because people are, I guess are traveling or, well, are people actually traveling? I'm not even sure with all the COVID stuff. Maybe they're not traveling as much, but if you are going and see your family or something like that, it's a great weekend to do that. So I'm not going to be surprised if there's less people in the house today. No big deal. We're still going to have a good time today. So I want to say thank you to you guys for tuning in. And let's say good morning to the people in the house here. Let's say good morning to Hurricane Moon. Hurricane Moon has already offered an answer to the question of the day. Let's visit the question of the day first before we continue saying good mornings here. So the question of the day is, what mod do you typically go to when you're looking at a guitar, for example? So what's your favorite, or what's the most common mod that you make on your guitars? So Hurricane Moon says a good set of locking tuners. And I agree. I mean, you definitely want to have a good set of tuners on your guitar. I don't know if they need to be locking. I've experimented with locking tuners. I like them because of the mass that they add to the headstock. But to be honest, for me, the standard set of tuners like the ones I have here on this 62 Reissue Strat, it's fine. I think the important thing is how you wrap the strings around the posts. I like to wrap them like in a locking position, which is a little bit different than just straight wrapping, and I find it helps keep things in tune a bit better. So thanks for that answer, Hurricane Moon. Jack Collins, good morning, my friend. Jack says he just survived the hurricane in Louisiana. That must have been rough, Jack. I know you mentioned that last time as well, and I hope everything's okay now. And the guitars are safe. I know you were worried about the guitars, so I hope the guitars are safe now, and and the family too. I'm joking, but it must have been like one of those change your pants events for you. I've never experienced a hurricane. Luckily, where I am in Canada, we rarely get hurricanes or once in a while earthquakes, but no hurricanes, tornadoes, almost never. We just get crazy snowstorms and ice storms. So yeah, that's not fun either. But yeah, a hurricane must be frightening. I mean, I can't imagine. I don't know how you guys do it, just going through hurricane after hurricane and just like, living there like it's okay, like no big deal, just a hurricane. You guys are tough. Bruce Brooks is in the house. Hey, Bruce, how are things in New York City? Hope everything's good there. Not too crazy with the COVID stuff. Right now, here in locally, we're sending our kids back to school, which is kind of crazy frightening for me and for them because we're just keeping our fingers crossed that everything's going to be fine. And I'm not really confident that things will be fine. Of course, I dropped my pick. It's okay, I got another one here. I'm not confident that things will be fine. And really, if things pick up again in the schools, it's going to be quite interesting as to what's going to happen with the families. I mean, kids are going to be sent home, and good luck. You got to stay home isolated for 14 days. Have you ever tried to keep a teenager like isolated for 14 days in a room? It's almost impossible. They're going to go crazy. So, keeping the family safe from whoever actually gets this virus is not going to be an easy thing, let me tell you. Alan, good morning. How are things in the UK, Alan? Hope they're good so far. Cool Tunes Made Easy. What's doing, Tony? Is a no-show. I'm here, man. I'm here. Alan says, hope you're recovering from the storm. So Alan says his family's doing okay. He's having a seller's remorse right now. I've sold a couple of guitars. So what did you sell? And of course, not to distract everyone from the question of the day, but if anybody has a new guitar day that they want to announce this week, go ahead. New amp day, new guitar day, new pedal day. That's the first thing I want to hear about from you guys. If anybody's picked up anything new, let's talk about that first. Bruce says he thinks it's sacrilege to modify a factory original guitar. Only exception is to replace broken worn parts such as tuners. If you want to modify, build a parts caster. Well, I don't know, Bruce. This is my opinion, okay? I respect your opinion. I know a lot of people just don't want to touch their guitars. I was like that at the beginning. But as time goes on, I don't know, I just feel that you start to gravitate towards certain things that you like. And for example, pickups, we have an ongoing joke that I like to change my pickups on all the guitars, which is kind of true. I kind of do that nowadays. So, for example, if you have a great guitar and maybe just the pickups that are in that stock guitar are not cutting it because they didn't happen to come with the pickups you enjoy, why not change the pickups? If you can make your guitar play better or sound better or enjoy the guitar more, why wouldn't you do that? I don't think, it's a big deal. I'm not saying like change everything about your guitar completely, but I mean, if it's just certain little things that will make you like the guitar better or improve the guitar, I'm okay with that. Hey, Henry, how are you, buddy? How are things in Paris, mon ami? Henry, is it just my imagination, or Is it hard to get certain things, certain guitars in Paris, certain brands specifically? I don't know if it's like that now, but when I was younger and I had gone to Europe for a while, and I visited a couple of music stores when I was there. This was a long time ago, mind you, and they didn't have a lot of brands that I was able to get locally over there. Like I remember they hardly had any Ibanez guitars at the time, maybe just one or two, and they didn't have a big selection of brands like I remember they had here. So I'm just wondering if things have caught up. I'm sure in Paris, since it's a big city, they probably don't have that situation going on. Hey Marcus, good morning, buddy. Richard says tuners and nuts. Tuners and nuts. Everybody seems to think tuners. There's, so far, well, not everybody. A couple of people have mentioned tuners already. Alan says, we're sorry to hear about you regretting selling your guitar. That's a rough thing, to be honest. I've been through that a couple of times. The funny thing with me is I think there's a psychological thing happening with me. Check this out. I don't know if I'm the only one that feels this way, but sometimes when I put a guitar for sale, I get seller's remorse before I sell it. It's like I put a guitar for sale, and if nobody's interested, it's fine. But as soon as somebody's like making an offer or trying to like is interested in the guitar, then I'll start second guessing it. It's almost like if somebody else finds this guitar so interesting, why am I selling it? I don't know if this is just me, but I do that a lot. So I have to really dedicate myself to not swaying from my decision. But that's a Libra thing. I'm a Libra. I'm born in October, so Libras tend to do that. They tend to flip-flop. Hey, Fat Philosopher. Good morning, buddy. How are you? My wife has to make a guest appearance on the 50th show, and your son has to show us his shredder chops. Good idea, man. That would be cool. Maybe I can get my wife in on the show and she can tell me what she thinks about my guitar collection. It might turn into a bitch fest. I don't think she's going to be too pleased, but she walks into the studio every once in a while, just kind of rolls her eyes and walks away. So I kind of understand how she feels. I kind of do the same thing with her purse and shoe collection. Fat Philosopher says typhoon will hit tomorrow. Man, between hurricanes and typhoons, you guys have a lot of excitement. A lot of excitement happening your way. What are you planning to do with that, Fat Philosopher? Are you sticking around? Are you moving? Are you getting out of there? What's going on? Are you far from ground zero in terms of the impact of the typhoon? I'd be like pretty stressed. I don't think I'd stick around. I'd be like sandbagging or getting the guitars out of the house, sending them somewhere else, getting rid of the family. Exactly with what Alan said. Just make sure your guitars and family are safe. Most common mod, taking off the crap strings and putting, yeah, strings on stock guitars are usually not the best quality. They tend to skimp. Unless you're buying like a high-end guitar, then they tend to skimp. 5150, good morning, buddy. It's Sunday already. Dude, I agree with you, man. The week just flew by. It was, I think, Thursday. And I'm like, I thought it was like Tuesday. I'm like, what the hell? Where is the time going? Pretty nuts. By the way, I'm holding just so I can talk about this guitar a bit. This is a 62 Reissue Strat made in Mexico. I've taken this one out of the case recently. I rediscovered the Strat. I've been playing a lot of humbucker guitars lately, and Telecasters, but I've been shunning the Strats, and I really like this guitar, and I really appreciate it now that I've been playing it. And it's like, you know how you don't play a guitar for a while and then go back to it? It feels great. Anyways, this is one of those guitars. It just, it's funny because I have two 62 Reissue Strats, similar. They look almost identical, except one is made in Japan, one is made in Mexico. This is the Mexican one. And it has a definite fatter neck, which I like. And even unplugged, it's pretty loud. It has a nice sustain. And although it's a 62, obviously the neck is has a bit more radius to it, but it plays really nice. The frets are not huge frets, they're relatively thin, which some people don't like, but I find with this guitar it just plays like butter. Allows me to do most of what I need to do. I did change the pickups. I know you guys are gonna laugh talking about mods. That's the only mod I did on this guitar. Change the pickups out, put something a little bit. They came with Lawler pickups, and I didn't like them. I don't know, they didn't sound bitey enough for me, so I took those out. These are a set of Tone Rider City Limits, which I really highly recommend for any of you that like that Strat sound and you want to have more bite to your pickups. Definitely a good sounding pickup in the Tone Rider range. Not all of them. I can't recommend all of the Tone Riders, but the City Limits are the ones that really play great for me. So that's what I put in here. And I didn't change anything else. Everything else is really stock. Funny how sometimes you pick up a guitar and, you know, it's kind of like voodoo. I don't know what it is. It's kind of like voodoo for me. When I look into a guitar that I like and I want to grab something new, and sometimes I'm looking online and I come across something like I did with this one. The guy was selling it and I wasn't even sure if it was a parts caster, because what the guy did, which is kind of silly, I don't know why people do this, but he actually got rid of the serial number, the Mexican serial number here, and he changed the neck plate. He put in one with a serial number. So I think what he was trying to do is he was trying to, like, I guess he wanted an American one, and he wanted to make his Mexican look like an American, right? But so he did that. And I think the guitar actually took a hit at one point, because you can't really see it on your end, but the plate is kind of bent a little bit to the right on the upper right corner here. So it probably fell and hit something there, and that caused like kind of little hairline cracks in the finish a little bit here, but you could hardly see it. So it is what it is, but you know, even with that, it's a great playing guitar, and you know, I like it a lot. And it's a nice contrast between the Japanese one and this one. The Japanese one, they definitely feel different, but I like both of them, and two of my favorite guitars. And I realized that I didn't actually ever do a review of this guitar, or a comparative review with this one and the Japanese one, and I should do that, because they're not exactly the same. They do have slight differences to them. So maybe I'll try and do that for you guys if you're interested. So Henry says he bought an Ibanez secondhand AF10 5 NT, mint condition, 400 euros, put in quarantine 7 days because of COVID. That's a good idea. Better to be proactive. It's a beautiful guitar. What do you think about it? Well, let's take a look at it. I don't have that model here in front of me. So let's put that up on the screen so we can take a look. Give me a second here. I'll share it with everyone. AF10 5 NT. And we'll give you our opinion on it. Let's take a look here. Let's go to images. Actually, let's go to... So this guitar, let's go to Reverb. And I'll share the screen so everyone can see that. Give me a sec. There we go. So there's the guitar. Now, I don't know if this is the same finish you have, but this is a really nice looking guitar. I like the pickguard. The wooden pickguard is really sexy. Look at that. So this one's selling for about 473 pounds plus shipping, of course. This is on Reverb. Let's see if there's more photos here. Give me a second. Let's take a look at the back. Oh yeah, that's nice. I like the stripe on the back of the neck. Very nice. So this is more like a jazz box type guitar. Looks really nice, man. If this is the same model you have, I like it. And the price seems very reasonable. So congratulations on that, dude. That's a super looking guitar, man. Congratulations. So I guess you're more, I guess you play more jazz guitar, jazz music, that type of thing. Hey, Quicksilver, nice to see you, buddy. Quicksilver says, install lefty pots. Lefty pots. I didn't even think that there was anything like lefty pots, but I guess I don't know. I'm not a lefty, so I don't really think about these kind of things. Marcus says, locking tuners and strings. Fat Philosopher was looking at a used Rg421, but passed on it because I didn't like the color. It wasn't purple, I take it, Fat Philosopher. Is that the reason why? I agree. When I mod a guitar, I keep the parts and put it back eventually. That's Richard that commented on that, and I do the same, especially if it's an expensive guitar. So if I mod, say I have I don't know, a 52 reissue Telecaster, and I change the pickups in that, I'll keep the original pickups. I'll put them in a Ziploc bag, keep it in the case, and before I sell it, I'll put it back to stock. Because when it comes to more expensive guitars, not everybody appreciates the mods. Yeah, some schools in the UK have had to close within days of opening. I know, man. We're keeping our eyes open here, but there's already, I think, over 50 cases in different schools of COVID. The government is saying, luckily, it's not an outbreak, but I don't trust the government. They've been making pretty lousy decisions about COVID lately. And one of the, they opened up bars, just as an example. Like, why do you need to open up bars in the middle of a pandemic? You're putting people that want to socialize. I mean, why do you go to a bar, right? You go to a bar to socialize. So people that are actively wanting to socialize with other people, throw in alcohol in the mix. And yeah, of course, there's going to be situations where people are going to be infected. And recently there was a couple of karaoke bars. Apparently there was people singing at a karaoke bar, and they're saying that, if you're singing, you're expelling a lot of, microbes in the air, and it's actually worse than coughing. So of course a bunch of people got infected. And so I have to say that I'm not very pleased with decisions that the government has been making, including sending kids back to school. Most kids are doing schooling online, which is fine. I don't know why everybody else can't do the same. But I think the government is putting priority on money as opposed to general health of the population, which I don't agree with. But I mean, there's actually a class action suit going on. They're trying to overturn the law that the government has put in place to say that you have to send your kids back to school. And they're trying to overturn that so that parents have a choice of either sending them back to school or doing the teaching or the lessons online. At least they have a choice. Don't let my dog eat the pick that I dropped. Don't worry. She's not interested in my picks. If it was a cracker or a cookie or something like that, it'd be gone already. Don't worry. Quicksilver says, other mod that goes overlooked, stereo output jacks for rock solid cable attachment to the guitar. Do you have an issue with your jacks being ripped out? Just wondering, like, I don't really, I mean, I'll change the jack output if there's something wrong with it or if it's noisy. But I don't really have an issue with it. I wrap my cable around the post here when I have my strap on, so it doesn't really come out. Keeps it from getting snagged off the guitar. At one point I had a Gibson, and I don't know if you remember these models. The Gibson had come out with a model where they had a locking output jack. That was one of their other great ideas that didn't really fly so well. They had an output jack that you would put the cable in, and it would lock it in place so it wouldn't come out. And I thought that was a terrible idea, because if you step on a cable, it just comes off, right? No big deal, you plug it back in. If it's locking and you step on a cable, you're either going to rip the internal connections of the cable, or you're going to rip out the actual output jack that's on your guitar. I mean, I think they had good intentions, but it failed. And they removed those. They didn't offer them after that. So keeping a teenager in a room for 14 days, Sony PlayStation. But could you imagine when they come out? They're going to be like zombies. They're going to be like pale and dehydrated and like swirly eyes from being on the PlayStation 24/7 14 days. I'm sure my son wouldn't mind so much, but I don't think it would be good for him. Bruce says, I live on the water on Long Island, New York. My entire neighborhood was under 5 feet of water after Hurricane Sandy. Took almost 2 months to get back power. Oh man, that must have been like just a nightmare. What did you guys do? I mean, I could just imagine the headaches in terms of like insurance claims, basement flooding, and mold and all kinds of stuff. Oh man, I feel for you, brother. I don't live next to the water, but I'm not far from it, and there's some houses that I pass by every single day that are right on the water. And last spring, when the water melted, the water levels got so high that a lot of people were sandbagging because they thought it was just going to go right into their basement. And right after that happened, I saw a lot of for sale signs go up in that neighborhood. I think people were, because it happened almost 2 times in a row, 2 springs in a row. And I think people just got fed up of the stress and decided to sell. So it's nice to be on the waterfront, but you got to make sure you're high enough that you're not going to be affected by any kind of raise in the water level. 5150 wants to know if there's any suggestions for a Telecaster neck boutique or small shop. So you want to buy an aftermarket neck. So I would say Warmouth makes great necks. Musicraft that you can catch on eBay. They make some pretty good necks as well. You can pretty much get them to build whatever you need. What else? Of course, there's like, Mighty Might and these brands that do like standard necks. Are you looking for something specific that you can't find anywhere else? Or why not just scour eBay and see if you can find an actual Telecaster neck? There's always people parting out their guitars. Jack says he sold one of my Fender Strats and EXP LTD EC100s. So why did you sell? Are you selling it just to raise money for something else? You got fed up of them, or you weren't playing them? What was the situation? So 5150 says, I have a piece of a new guitar, bought a MJT Fiesta Red Telecaster body. Nice, dude. I've been eyeing those MJT guitar bodies for a long time. They're not cheap. Did you buy one that's been relicked? A little bit relicked, or is it just a mint? What I like about those guitar bodies is they do use nitro. From what I know, they're really great. So if you want to build yourself something that looks a little bit vintage, those are great bodies to get. What I don't like about them, however, is that you can only buy them off eBay, and you have to basically compete. Like, they don't have a buy it now. You have to, they auction them off, so you're paying a lot of money, and there's no guarantee you're going to get that particular body, which is a bummer, because they're all kind of unique. They're not all the same, right? I'm thinking about getting a Telecaster body that's unfinished. There's a local guy that makes them here, and they're really reasonably priced. He charges, I think, I don't know, 56 bucks or something like that. Then there's shipping because he sells on eBay, but he's not far from me. He's maybe like an hour drive, 45-minute drive. I've been to his place before. He's an older guy, and he basically makes these guitar bodies in his, he has like a little garage away from his house, and he basically does them all by hand. And I think I'm going to pick one up as a project. I'm probably going to try and build my own relic Telecaster just for fun. The only thing with him is that his bodies are, I think they're ash. Actually, not ash. I think they're alder, maybe. Anyways, it's not a light wood, so they're about 6 pounds, the bodies. So it's going to make a little bit of a heavy guitar. And that particular wood grain that he sells has a very pronounced grain to it, so you have to grain fill and stuff. So it's a little bit more work than I would have preferred to get, like alder, something like that. But for the price, I think it's going to be a good body anyways. And it's more for learning how to create that relic look. I'm bored, guys, so I need something to do. So guitar projects are always something that I love to do. So I'm always scouring for something or something that will keep me busy. FX-teen says EHX 1440 looper. So I'm assuming that's what you got. That's what you picked up. So loopers are great. I love loopers. I have a couple, and they're definitely an inspiring piece of kit to have. They definitely make you kind of open up the boundaries of your playing that you normally wouldn't do because you're trying to play and create on the fly, which is very inspiring. I think everybody should have a looper just for fun. One of the most fun pedals, I think. Fat Philosopher says I should just buy a guitar with no pickups. I would, you know. I've been eyeing a couple of kits on eBay that they're just selling the body with no hardware. They're finished and everything. They just don't have no hardware, nothing. And that would be perfect for me because then I could just put in the hardware that I want. Quicksilver, hey buddy. New Guitar Day. Harley Benton Double Cut Junior. Fat with, of course, Lefty Potts and Lindy Fralin hum canceling P90s. Grover locking tuners meant to go on my Tokai Love Rock, but decided to leave the original Goto top locks. So, what color did you get? I've been eyeing the single cuts, and I'm just waiting for them to get some nicer colors. Let me know what color you got. Is it the TV yellow or is it the red one? What are you going for? But the hardware seems like super high quality. I think you're going to be happy with that. And the P90s, can't go wrong with P90s. Marcus has a new guitar, a new amp day. Hughes and Kettner Grandmeister 40 Deluxe. I know there's a lot of people on here that like those amplifiers, Hughes and Kettner. I tried one in the guitar shop, but I haven't extensively played one. They seem quite flexible in terms of what they could do. And they look cool too with the internal lights that light up and the plexiglass front. That's pretty nice as well. The pups on my LP probably could use an upgrade, but since I plan on selling it in November, why bother? Yeah, I agree. If you're planning on selling it, don't change them out. Just leave them as is. Save yourself the hassle. No wonder you have seller remorse. Some guitars are hard to find and replace. And not only that, when you do, if you do regret it and you want to buy them later on, the prices go up, right? I mean, I'm sure that if you had a guitar in your collection for quite a few years, like this one or the original Japanese one that I purchased, that I bought, I think for like $500 or something. I mean, if I try and buy one today, I'm guaranteed it's not going to cost me $500. Henry's drinking a glass of good red wine from Bordeaux. Cheers, my friend. Cheers. And playing, as good as playing a Tokai. I'm not drinking wine yet because it's only 1040. It's just water. But cheers to you, my friend. I'm just going through some of the comments. I can't speak. I went to bed really late last night. I started getting on a rampage. I started watching one of my favorite TV series, which is The Boys. And they came out with season 2, and I promised myself I'd only watch one episode and kind of string them out a little bit so it would keep me going, but I ended up watching 3 in a row. Love that show. It's really great. If you guys haven't seen it, check it out. I've been sort of on a sci-fi kind of rampage, so to speak. I mean, between watching The Boys, I've been also reading a book called Dark Matter, a great novel about the multi-universe and a guy who gets sort of trapped in the multi-universe. And yesterday I caught part of Elon Musk's presentation for his new what does he call it? The neurotransmitter. I think that's what he calls it. I forget the name of it. Yeah, the neural transmitter. That's what he calls it. It's basically an implant that his company's making already, where they're going to be implanting this device in human brains eventually. They're experimenting on pigs right now that will be able to communicate with your brain, and it's supposed to be like a 30-minute install that you can do like on an in and out basis, done by machines where they actually drill a hole in your scalp or your skull and put in this quarter-sized device and connect it to your brain and basically glue the flap of skin back on, and it's kind of invisible, and you have an upgrade. Between the boys and dark matter and this announcement, I don't know, man. I'm getting nervous about where all of this is going. Could you imagine, like, now we're gonna have to do upgrades on ourselves? I mean, there's a lot of interesting things that they said, like to help people that have like spinal cord injuries or some kind of injury in their brain. It could be quite interesting to use this technology if you're paralyzed, for example. What they can do if the spinal cord is severed, well, they can put the device and basically jump over the damage and have the device send the signals to like the transmitter and receiver send the signals to bypass the injury so that people can walk again. And that's amazing. I mean, if they can help people walk again, or blind people see again, or deaf people hear again, and so on and so forth, I think that's a very noble thing to do. I'm just worried about the implications of where this is going to be, where it's going to go. You know, I'm wondering if you're going to be walking around and you're going to be getting bombarded by advertising in your brain directly, you know, kind of like we're getting on our phones and on YouTube and whatnot. So that remains to be seen. But it's pretty interesting technology. One of the things that he mentioned that is also they can help people that have addictions. So I'm wondering if they can help me, and if I get this thing installed in my brain, if I no longer I'm going to want to buy any guitars. It would be cool if they can help us, like learn things quicker, memorize things quicker, and maybe play quicker. You could have like a jukebox in this little device that allow you to play any song on demand, you know, almost like iTunes Music or Spotify in your head. That'd be cool if you're a musician, right? Oh man, the world's just moving too fast. I'm starting to sound like an old guy now, I guess. Well, I am kind of old anyway, but who knows where things are going to end up by the time, you know, I'm ready to check out. Hey Rico, good morning, my friend. How are things in Arizona? Thanks for joining on the live stream. I've always wanted to visit Arizona, buddy. One day I'm gonna get a one of those trailer hitches and one of those mobile homes and drive across Arizona. Ed says he has a 30-year-old acoustic that won't play a note above the 7th fret. Adjusting truss rod doesn't help. Is it beyond repair? Interesting question. So above the 7th fret, I don't think it's above repair. So when you say it doesn't play a note, is it just buzzing? So if it's an acoustic, what I would say would be maybe your bridge saddle is too low. You can change the actual bridge saddle part, raise it up a little bit, and that'll allow you to get rid of any buzzing if the truss rod can't be adjusted that far. That's what I would try. Just raise it up a little bit. Not a big deal. If that doesn't work, your neck may be warped. Like warped, when I say warped, I don't mean warped this way or this way. I mean warp this way. So you can see that by sighting down the neck. See if there is a curvature to it. Then it still can be fixed. You can do it in a couple of different ways. You can take the frets off. This is like the extreme method, but it's going to be permanent. Take the frets off and you bring it to a luthier. If you don't know how to do it yourself, you level sand the fretboard so that you can sand away the curve and then put the frets back on. It's fixable. It definitely is fixable. It's a question of how much money and time you want to put into it. But I wouldn't, if it's a good guitar and you like it and it's been in your collection for that long, I would definitely hang on to it. Bring it to a luthier. They'll be able to fix it for you. No problem, dude. Quicksilver says Le Gauchier on Rue de Douai. Am I pronouncing it Douai? In Paris, heaven for lefty guitarists. So I guess this is the equivalent of a lefty shop where they sell only lefty guitars. That's cool. It must be hard to survive with a shop that just deals with lefty guitarists, because it's already hard enough to make money with regular, you know, a regular guitar shop. And when you specialize in something like that, oftentimes you don't really, you can't survive. It's too specialized, you know, unless you have a niche. Rich says he likes to do coil splits as a mod. Neck on switches and nuts. Neck on switches and nuts. So the coil switch, I've experimented with that on a couple of these humbucker guitars that I have. I'm not a huge fan, because I typically go with lower output pickups, and when you split them, you generally half the output. So if you're, let's say you're 9.5, you're going to be halving that typically, which to me, the pickup then becomes too thin. So I don't really do that, but I know a lot of people do like that. I have a couple of guitars with that switch, but I hardly ever use it. Rico says he likes my FU tone review. Good video. Thanks, man. I appreciate that. You know, a lot of people like things like upgrading the brass block on your guitar is something that's easy to do. Is it worthwhile? That really depends on you. I mean, a lot of people commented how, you know, it just makes the guitar sound brighter and that's it, you know, like no big deal. Like what else? You know, I don't know what else they're expecting out of an upgrade like that. I mean, it's not going to make your guitar sound totally different, but it will change the tone. I mean, that's what I saw on that experiment that I did. The pickup, the guitar that I did the experiment on specifically had a very thin bridge block, and it sounded hollow to me, and that's one of the things I didn't like. So I did the upgrade, and it definitely got rid of the hollowness. I think it did what it was supposed to do. But yeah, there's a lot of people that commented on, you know, not enough of a difference. Personally, I don't want my guitar to sound completely different, because then it's not going to be the same guitar anymore. I just want to, you know, improve the tone. Depending on what you need, it might do the trick for you. But for a lot of people, maybe they're happy with what it is and they don't want to spend the 50 bucks. The cool thing about the FU Tone stuff is that all their mods are reversible. If you don't like them, you can just swap it back. No big deal, you know, and it's no harm done. There's no modification that needs to be done on your actual guitar. So, yeah, I think it's a cool, they offer some cool products. I'll eventually see if I can get Adam from FU Tone on my channel, and we'll discuss in more detail if you guys are interested. He's got a lot of cool stuff to talk about. Marcus wants to know, what are your favorite 5 guitars in my collection? I think I have more than 5 favorites, but I'll try. I'll narrow it down. So this is one of my favorites, as I mentioned. This and the Japanese version, definitely one of my favorites. The white Telecaster that I have right there, one of my favorites. What else? I have the Tokai Les Paul that I have is one of my favorites that I play a lot. Definitely love the PRS hollow body right there. And I do have another Strat that I like a lot too. It's kind of like a Blackie Strat. I actually modified that one. I put a black pick guard instead of the white pick guard, so it looks more like the David Gilmour Strat now. But that's also one that I like a lot as well. And I like hollow bodies too, so I have a 335 hollow body that I like a lot as well. So I think that's more than 5. I like all my stuff, man. It's really hard for me to narrow it down to 5 because honestly, if I don't like it, I don't keep it. So the stuff that I have is like, for me, the cream of the crop. There's just maybe stuff that I like a little bit less, but you know, not necessarily that I don't like it at all. I don't keep stuff I don't like at all. And there's a PRS that I like also in my collection, a US one that I don't play that often, but I really love it when I do. Fat Philosopher saying he's sticking around. I got an island in front of me to cushion the typhoon impact. All right, dude. Give me my fingers crossed for you, buddy. Give us an update. Which frequency do you change your strings? I don't have like a timer on my guitars. I change the strings when they become dull. Typically when the E string, the low E string starts to sound like a rubber band, then it's time to change. If I'm modifying something on my guitar or doing any kind of repair work or electrical work on the guitar, I'll take off the strings and replace them with a fresh set as well. But because I have so many guitars, I don't necessarily play one guitar enough to warrant guitar string changes that often because I play different guitars. So typically I can go a long time without a string change. And of course, if the string breaks, then I won't change just one string. I'll change the entire set. And I'm slowly changing my strings to 9.5s from Diodario. I was constantly just using the Ernie Ball strings for a long time. And I just recently tried the Diodario 9.5s. And I'm liking them so far. I don't know if I'm going to stick with them, but I'm liking them so far. So I hope that answers your questions. Bruce says 5 biggest guitar regrets. 1956 Fender Esquire. Yeah. Dude. Ay, Chihuahua. Alembic Model 1 bass. 60s Gretsch White Falcon. Oh. 1972 Precision bass. 60s Fender Electric. Dude. Call me. Next time you want to sell a guitar, call me. I'll talk you out of it. Richard says, for acoustic guitar, try to shim the saddle. The last part of the fretboard is flat, so raise the strings. Exactly. Try that first before you do any crazy modifications on the fretboard. But if that fails, you might be looking at a refret and flattening out the neck on your acoustic guitar. Fat Philosopher says, if you got the money, high-end Fender pickups are still the best. No one knows more about pickups than Fender. There are a couple of Fender pickups that I have to agree do sound really great. There was one set that I got on a Fender Strat that I bought and regretfully sold. I don't know why I sold that one, but they had a set of pickups that were you could only buy in that guitar. They weren't selling them independently of the guitar. And the pickup sounded really great. But I ended up selling the entire guitar. I forget why I was selling that guitar. There was something with the finish. I remember On the guitar, I noticed that there was something going on with the finish on the guitar. It was kind of like melting away. It was really strange. And I ended up selling it. I can't explain why that was happening. It wasn't like I spilled something on it. It was just like, it was having like a reaction to something. And it wasn't nitro. So you know how nitro will react if you put in, if you put something made of rubber on nitro, it'll leave a mark. Well, it wasn't nitro, so I don't understand why it was happening, but I ended up selling that guitar. If you like the thicker neck Strat, you have to try a Robert Cray Strat, or have I tried? Love mine, plus it's a hardtail. Plays amazing. I don't necessarily like go after the fatter necks. I like both, but I don't like too fat. Like the PRS, for example, that Zach Weil. I'm getting my guitarists mixed up. I'm telling you, I'm going to bed too late, or I need that implant from Elon Musk. That is a Zach. What is it called? Zach Myers PRS. I had a senior moment there. That neck is really chunky. One of the chunkiest ones that I've played on a PRS. Very different than any of the other ones that I've played. And I like it for that reason, because it's different. I don't want all my guitars to be the same, but I like the variety. Hey Joey, no problem, dude. If you miss the beginning, you can just rewind it later on. It'll be live. It'll be put on YouTube. You can just rewind it and get all the highlights. Al says, new guitar this week, 1973 Gibson Les Paul Custom Black Beauty. Wow. I love the look of Black Beauties. I really do. I don't like the weight of Black Beauties. They're like, not to diss your selection, I'm sure it plays fantastic, but the one that my buddy has is like it really weighs a lot. It's like having a boat anchor around your neck when you're playing. So you have to have a good back. I don't know if yours is the same. What's the weight on the guitar, Al? Just for giggles, let us know how much this thing weighs. Maybe you got a good light one, or maybe it's weight relieved, but I don't think they were doing any weight relieving on the Les Pauls back in 73. I want to get a Black Beauty type guitar. It doesn't have to be Gibson, but a Black Beauty type guitar, weight relieved, with black P90 pickups in it. I saw one local. The guy's asking $1,800, which is not unreasonable, except I don't have that money right now. COVID and everything. I mean, I gotta be very careful in terms of what I buy at the moment. So if it was any other time, I probably would snag it, but right now I'm gonna wait. I might just build one of my own. I might just buy the parts and build it. I can do it. Joey says, I have a 2014 Deluxe Player Strat. I love it for the price. Has vintage noiseless pickups. They sound good to me. I've heard they don't sound like true single coils, but I like them. I've tried the noiseless pickups, and personally, Joey, again, I think the guitar is great. I don't like noiseless pickups. It really, for me, kind of, I don't know, it doesn't have that true Strat sound, the quackiness. I haven't been able to find a set, and maybe they're different now. Maybe they've improved them, and I don't know about them. But the ones that I've tried, and I've tried a few, I just go back to the regular Strat pickups, and I like them more, in my opinion, just for me, even though they make noise. I'm a lefty, but learned right to avoid all the hardships of left-handed gear buying. So you're a lefty, but you play right. Kind of like my son. He does the same. Same thing with archery. My son and I started archery again, and we're actually going to go shoot today, later on today. And I gave him one of my compound bows, and he shoots like a right-handed archer. And he plays guitar right-handed, but he's a lefty. So I don't know how that messes with the brain and how much more of a challenge you have learning to adapt to the other hand. I know if I was trying to play a right hand, if I was trying to play guitar like this, forget it. I can't even pick, like, if I try to pick and just like be consistent with the picking, forget it, I can't do it. So when I give my son lessons, I have to keep that in mind. Often I push him, and although he advances quickly, I forget he's like playing switched over. So I should be a little bit more lenient on him and be a little bit more forgiving. But he adapts quickly, man. I'm actually pretty surprised at how fast he adapts. In terms of archery, I mean, he's picked it up so quick. He's good. He's good. He's gonna kick my ass soon if I'm not careful. Hey Sean, lefty pots and wiper is just wired backwards so it turns the other way. Oh, I get it. So lefty pots, yeah, I get it. That's what I figured they were. So the sweep is the other way around. It makes sense. Yeah. I didn't think about that. I really didn't. I didn't realize that that's something you would have to pay attention to if you're a left-handed player. But I guess people think of everything, right? Okay, so so you're saying that they don't exist, but you can wire the pot wiper backwards. I see. But I'm sure somebody's going to come out with a product like this eventually. They probably already do. I'm sure if you look online, there's something like that exists somewhere. Adrian, Guitar Junkie, my friend. Hello from Austria. How are things over there, dude? Fat Philosopher wants to give me a video idea. Install lefty pots in your guitar and see what you think. I don't think I want to do that. I'll leave it up to my son, maybe. Pix Gaming, hello. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. Joey, exactly. 127 cases of COVID were traced back to a single wedding. How about that as a wedding souvenir or a wedding gift? Too soon, man. I'm telling you, all this stuff with COVID, going back to school, too soon. Just before winter, just before flu season. I don't know how many times people are going to need to isolate. I'm really watching with bated breath, but I don't have a good feeling on the inside about this decision to go back to school right now. What's the big deal? I mean, couldn't they just wait till the spring? We're actually making good headway, right? At least here, we're not getting inundated with new cases, which is good. But the last couple of days, there's been an uptick in the cases, and I have a feeling after the long weekend, we're going to get more numbers coming in. Rich says, I picked up an Ibanez Rg421 and an Rg7321. So you're a big Ibanez fan. Why did you pick up those two models specifically at the same time? What differences were you looking for in those two models? The Calvi. I still don't know if I'm pronouncing your name properly. DJKAL. So is it the Cal? Is the K, the J silent, or is it? Anyways, I'm gonna pronounce it the Calvi. If it's wrong, tell me how to pronounce it so I get it right. You're saying that you're looking for an audio interface with Windows 10 to replace my Line 6 tone port. An audio interface. Windows 10. I use the Sapphire. It's the regular Sapphire 2i2. There are 2 inputs, 2 outputs. Pretty inexpensive. You can get them for anywhere between 150 and 200 bucks used. They work well. I don't know if, I guess they work with Windows 10. I'm not really sure. I use a Mac, so I'm not 100% certain on that. But it hasn't failed me. Simple, but it works. I glue in my strap buttons on my cheaper guitars. You glue them in. So you mean you take them out, you put some glue, and then you put the screw back in? Is that what you're saying? Do you own any USB to audio interface? And what is the favorite guitar you own? So I just answered the interface question. So the Sapphire. What is the favorite guitar that I own? And that is a question that I have a lot of trouble answering. The favorite guitar is the one I'm playing at any given moment, man. I like all of my guitars. I don't know. I would have a hard time choosing one favorite guitar because I alternate between Strats, Telecasters, Les Paul style guitars, and everything in between. And so, you know, if you're narrowing it down to a category, for example, Strats, I can kind of narrow it down to 1 or 2 that I like. This is one of them, 62 Reissue, great guitar. I have another one I mentioned that I like a lot also, which is a, it looks like a Blackie, was converted with a black pickguard. Now it looks like a David Gilmour Strat, but that one plays really nice. I actually swapped the neck from another Strat onto that body because I preferred it, and that one is a maple neck. I usually play on my Strats. I kind of go for rosewood more often than maple. So for the Strats, that would be it. For the Telecaster, the Telecasters that I have, it would be my white Telecaster that's just there. I also have a red Telecaster, a road-worn Telecaster that I like a lot. I also have a road-worn Strat that would be in one of my favorites as well. And as for the Les Paul style guitars, I would say probably one of my Tokais would be number 1. Gibson, I have 2 Gibson Les Pauls. Those would be number 2. What else? I mean, there's so many. So I don't have one favorite. I can't really choose one favorite. I gotta figure that one out because a lot of many times people are asking me that question, and I always feel dumb when I can't answer it because I just like them all, you know. So I sound stupid because I can't like pick one, you know. Which one is it? Bam! I should know. That's the one. But I'm not like that. I tend to flip-flop. I tend to prefer different things at different times. So if I take a snapshot today, it's this one. Tomorrow, it'll probably be something else. That's why I'm addicted to gear. So that's a long-winded response to your question, but I hope it makes you understand what's in here. Hey, Cushman. Yes, better late than never. Hi. Nice to see you, dude. Thomas says that he recently got his first delay pedal. He likes it, but it seems that playing with fingers creates strange extra sound caused by the nails as opposed to playing with picks. Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Thomas. It's because obviously there's string noise. Not only this, you know, when you're when you hear the sliding sound on your string. But when you're playing with your fingers, obviously you're touching other strings a lot more than with a pick. So you have some secondary sound and noise. So it's harder to play clean if you really want to avoid that noise interference. You have to really work on your technique with your fingers. Just use a pick. I mean, Adrian says, I have a little cut on my guitar. What kind of repair can I use? When you say a cut, do you mean a scratch? Or do you mean like an actual chip? Because if it's a scratch, you can buff it out normally. Get some buffing compound that you can buy at a store. Typically the same kind of stuff that you would use to get the scratches off your guitar paint. And you can buff it out. But let me give you some advice. If one of you have a guitar scratch on your paint, if you can feel it when you run your nail over the scratch, if the divot is deep enough that you can feel it with your fingernail, you probably can't buff it out because it's too deep. If you can't really feel it, you can normally buff it out. If it's a chip in the paint, depending on what kind of paint it is, what kind of guitar, it's hard for me to tell you without seeing the guitar. But I use this stuff here. I did a video on this. You guys can check it out. It's called Glue Boost. It's basically crazy glue in a bottle. The cool thing about these glues is that they come in different thicknesses. This is thin. There's thick, thin, super thin. And normally whenever there's a chip, what I do is I'll drop fill some crazy glue in it. It dries really fast. I'll build it up above the level of the finish so that there's a little hump. And then I'll scrape it back with a razor blade, carefully, not to damage the paint around it. And then buff it like you normally would. You can wet sand it with very, very fine grits. And then you can buff it with a buffing compound. And usually it'll become pretty much invisible. You probably, if you know where it is, you will be able to probably spot it, but other people will not. Or leave it the way it is. If you're not confident that you can do the work, just leave it as is, because finish repairs are tricky, and sometimes you can make them a lot worse just by messing with them. So. Krenar, how are you, buddy? Got a few new faces today. I'm happy to see that. Do I still have the JJN combo? I do. I do still have it. It's right behind me. Right there. I was playing it just the other day. Oop, there it is. See? Right there. Over there. I even have it mic'd up. I have to apologize again. It's been like how long has it been? A month? 2 months that I've owned the combo, and I haven't still made the video on it. It's just because I keep getting stuff in, and I get distracted, so I end up making videos on other stuff, and I don't really do it by alphabetical order or anything like that. But I do have to do the video. Guitar amp is great. I still like it a lot. It definitely plays better with, in my opinion, P90s and single coil pickups. I find, at least on the clean channel. On the driven channel, it really doesn't matter. You can play with humbuckers. But I find on the clean, some humbucker pickups, with, especially if they're high output, will react funny with the speaker. And I noticed that with a set of Iron Gear Hot Slag bridge pickup that I have in one of my guitars, and that one's pretty hot. I think it's about 14K, and doesn't sound particularly good with that amplifier. And that's something that eventually I'll have to make a video on that, because that's one thing that I noticed is that a lot of people, when they buy an amp and try it with their guitar, if you only have one guitar, one amp, and you're playing it, sometimes the guitar to amp I guess, mix is kind of mismatched, so that your guitar might not sound good with that particular amp or that particular amp speaker, and people will just dismiss the amp and say, oh, the amp doesn't sound good. Whereas if you experiment with a couple of different guitars, you will find that certain amps favor certain types of guitars more. And that is the case with the Blackstar. So in terms of Strat sound on the Blackstar in the clean channel, sound fantastic. P90s sound great. Telecasters sound really good. Some humbuckers, though, on the clean channel, it's a little bit of more of a challenge. You have to really play with the EQ a little bit more. Not to say that it doesn't sound good. You can still get it to sound good, but you just have to tweak a little bit more. So I hope that answers that question. Joey says, I bought a Power Cab 112 Plus this week to go with my HX Stomp. It's supposed to be delivered today, but is already a day late, so who knows? Do you have any experience with them? I don't have a Power Cab, but I do have a Headrush behind me also. I'll keep ducking out of the way. It's right up there, the Headrush, right up there. And I use that with my multi-effects, and it sounds great. Way better than going in through a cabinet of a guitar amp or a head. You can really squeeze out a lot of great tones right from your multi-effects unit with a powered amplifier like that. So I think you will probably like it. I feel that the 12-inch versions have a lot more low end. I bought an 8-inch version and it has a ton of low end already. So depending on what music you play, you might want that low end. On the other hand, maybe you will be too bassy. So that you will have to check that out for yourself. Depending on how your settings are configured, you might have to dial them back a little bit. But I love the Headrush. I think it's great. Bruce says he got a generator, dorm fridge, and waited for insurance. I had over $90,000 in insurance claims. That's always like a nail biter, you know, to wait for the insurance to come through and hope that they're going to come through and not give you a hard time. And I really feel for the people that don't have insurance. You know, just crazy. Rich says, I use matching fingernail polish to fill chips and hide flaws. Well, the thing with the Glue Boost is that they also sell powders that are designed to be mixed with this, the Crazy Glue, that you can make a tinted glue and drop it in. So if your guitar is, say, white, red, black, you know, the typical colors that you normally will find, they have tinted powders to match. Check them out. You check out my video. You'll see what I mean. It's pretty cool. Jack says, I had to sell them to pay for damages on the hurricane. I have pit bulls and I can't get insurance with pit bulls. Oh man, that's rough, dude. That is rough. I feel for you, buddy. Fat philosopher. My pit bulls are my babies. I can't do that. No kidding. You can't get rid of your dogs. Come on, man. I've never played a Telecaster, but love the sound of one cranked up on the bridge pickup. Telecasters are great, man. I love them. I love it. I've recently, and when I say recent, I'm going to say the last maybe 6 years or so, have come around to Telecasters and really appreciate them and like them a lot. Telecasters are great. It's basically everything you need, nothing you don't need, no frills. You know, some of them obviously don't feel as nice to hold because they're a little bit more square cut. But Telecasters are great, man. I think Telecasters really fall between a Les Paul and a Strat, somewhere in between there. You can kind of do the Strat thing with a Telecaster. You can kind of do the more chunky thing that you can do with a Les Paul with a Telecaster. So it's a good compromise between the two if you're kind of one that likes to swing both ways, so to speak. Fat Philosopher, what kit are you looking at? I guess you're referring to the guitar kit I mentioned. Well, as you know, I did the 335 kit, which I ended up sending back to the person that sold me the kit because there was issues with that particular kit. And it ended up, he claims, being caused by the neck joint. So I think what ended up happening was that he mismatched the neck from another kit with that one to get it to me quicker, and it wasn't compatible, or there was some issue with it, which caused a misalignment. Long story short, I didn't finish the kit. So he's going to send me another one, and I'm eventually going to work on another 335 hollow body kit. That'll keep me happy and busy for a while. I'm also looking at a kit maybe to do like a P90 version of a Les Paul, maybe in black. There's quite a few sellers on eBay that sell kits. Some of them are quite good. So if you're looking for a kit to keep you busy, that's a great place to look for these kits. And I've always also wanted to build a kit as just something to have around, not really to play. Like a Frankenstrat, like an EVH Frankenstrat. So eventually I might put one of those together just for fun, but I don't expect to play it that often, you know. I've built one before. I've actually built one, painted it up. It came out quite good. And I ended up selling that body online. It wasn't a direct 100% replica, but eventually I'll probably try it again. I get the urge now and then. So Joey, you just recently got addicted to gear. Good for you, man. Started playing guitar 32 just to keep busy. Had a disabling shoulder injury at work. Now find myself very bored, so bought a guitar. And now at 37, I'm addicted to gear. That's how it happens, man. It sneaks up on you. Just bring in one piece of gear. Before you know it, there's 2, 3, 4. That's the way it works. Hey, Brian. Just got on here wondering where you're out of, like what you are, like what area you live. I'm in Canada. I'm in Montreal. Canadian. Most common mod replacing the knob on the toggle switch. It bothers me if the knob on the toggle switch doesn't match the rest of the plastics. I agree. For me, the most common mod beyond changing the pickups, because that's probably the first mod I normally do. Definitely the pickups first. Nut, if it's not bone, usually is the second mod that I do. And a lot of times it's the electronics. Especially if it's an import. If it's an import and they're like those little small pots and the crappy switches, those usually get chucked in the garbage, and I usually get full-size pots and better quality switches for my guitars. And of course the strings. One boy, salute. How you doing? I'm doing well. Nice to see you. Thank you for joining us. What's your favorite guitar in your collection, sir? So we answered that question already, one boy. I don't have one favorite guitar. Sorry. Inventor. What are you inventing, Inventor? I've been playing for 7 years. The Steve Vai Ibanez Gem Evo. I tried last week the Squier SFR Affinity Telecaster, and I'm sending it back. Everything bad with that. Stay away from the affinities, man. I agree with you. The affinities look like guitars, but they don't really play that well unless you do a lot of work on them. What I would recommend if you're looking at a budget guitar like a Telecaster, go with the Squier Classic Vibes. They're better. The affinity is kind of like the bottom of the barrel. Stay away from those. I get rid of the Telecaster pink shell. They don't even match the color. The real color is found in shell pink DeSoto, sold by the brand Spraymax. Fender cannot do that good color. So it's just the color that bothers you on that guitar? I don't know, man. If you're gonna like really take a guitar like an Affinity and buy it to just modify it, you're better off get the parts elsewhere. It'll cost you a bit more, but you'll get better parts, especially the neck. Necks on the Affinities are not that great. Tuners are not that great. Pickups are not that great. Most of the hardware is no good. So you're not really doing yourself a favor by starting off with a crappy foundation for guitar mods. There you go. Brian says he's got a 50s Squier Classic Vibe that he wants to get rid of. I'd grab that one. The classic vibes are not bad. Richard says, fingernail polish. Yes, it works. Black looks the worst. It is easiest to match. You have to look closely to see it. It's funny because I only realized when I was trying to do the same thing on one of the guitars I had way back that there's so many different versions of black. Don't assume that black is black. Like, don't just grab any black nail polish. And also, black nail polish is kind of harder and harder to find because not many people want to wear black. So there's like black, but they put in other colors to give it a tint. So sometimes it's black, but there's some brown in it. Black, but there's some blue in it. So you have to be super careful to what kind of black polish you end up getting. Doesn't always match. To me, 90% of the cases, upgrading the guitar is not necessary, but upgrading the player is critical. In a word, you can put $100 Strat in Mark Knopfler's hands and it will sound great. True, but a better guitar will sound greater. I don't think I would like, not even a Telecaster custom shop, rosewood neck. The body does lines in the legs. It lacks contours. It's uncomfortable on the forearms and it cuts the circulation of blood. Inventor, I get what you're saying, dude. I understand. You're delicate. You need the curves, right? More like a woman's body. You need to have the tummy tuck. You need to have the forearm thing. I get it. I get it. Telecasters are not for everybody, man. I totally get it. I'm not making fun of you or anything. I totally get it. I agree with you. It's not like Telecasters are not as comfortable to play, but they just sound great. So I don't really care about comfort. I care about tone. The hardtail rattles as a snake. Everything wrong. Everything. Dude, do yourself a favor. Get rid of that guitar. Start with something with a good foundation. Trust me. Cool tunes made easy. Hey, Tony, great to see you on time. I'm always on time. I'm always on time. Paul slept in. I hope you had some good sleep. I wanted to sleep in. I went to bed really late yesterday. Had a couple of rough nights. So I wasn't feeling optimal yesterday, but I feel much better today. Marcus says, no implants for me. The brain is the most powerful computer on earth. No upgrades needed. Yeah, and who the hell wants to do firmware updates if you have an upgrade or it starts getting glitchy or something, you know? I don't know, man. Hey, James. James wants to buy a Tokai. They're not cheap anymore. They are not cheap anymore, James. The cat is out of the bag with the Tokais. If you're looking at buying them from people that deal with Tokais on a regular basis, you're going to pay prime dollar. You have to kind of find somebody that wants to get rid of a Tokai, that maybe wants to upgrade to a Gibson or something like that, and snag it when you see it. But yeah, they're not cheap anymore, but they're still good guitars. Keep your eyes open, dude. You sometimes will get lucky and come across a great deal. I have an Ibanez JS that is super comfortable. I've tried those Sabre Ibanez guitars, and those are weird to play because they're so thin. They feel comfortable, but they're still strange because, I don't know, it's almost like you're holding air. But like everything, you get used to it quite quickly after you play for a while. Most of the ones I've seen have sunk in on the top a little and have to have the neck heel adjusted. That's Joey making that comment. I don't know what we're talking about. Are we still talking about the Tokais, Joey? Or we're talking about something else? Sorry, I'm confused. I lost the train of comments. Good morning from India. Gary, nice to see you. Oh, am I saying India? Dude, sorry. The writing on my comment window is really thin, and I read it as India. It's South Carolina. Sorry about that. Got to get my eyes checked. Fat Philosopher says, I once waited for an autograph to Satriani after the last concert I paid for somebody. He didn't even bother to look at our eyes, the fans who made him millions. So no S. You know what? To these guys, it's work, right? And I think after a show, they just want to get the hell out of there. So you don't know what's going through their minds. You know, they can have a bad day. They can have a migraine. They can have a hangover. They could have to go to the washroom. Who knows? You know. But yeah, sometimes it's sad to see that you finally get to meet somebody that you're so passionate about and you end up having a bad experience. Go in, you're late. It's okay, dude. It's all good. It's Sunday. You're allowed to sleep in, dude. I might have to start doing these shows a little bit later. Instead of 10, maybe 11 or something like that. Because I find that most people only come in at about 11-ish. So I might have to switch it over a little bit. I just want to give the opportunity for people that are on the other side of the world to watch the show so they don't have to stay up so late. Joe from San Francisco, nice to see you, dude. San Francisco, one of my favorite places that I haven't been. I got to get myself to San Francisco. I really have something in my heart about San Francisco. I don't know what it is, but I've always had this desire to get there. I got to get there sometime. Marcus, like your Harley Benton reviews, they helped me decide to purchase a Fusion T. Dual humbucker, T-style. Thanks. How do you like it? How do you like that guitar? The T-style Harley Benton Fusion neck is a little bit wider than the regular Strat style one. I did notice that. Let me know how you like it. Just got a 90s Gibby Les Paul Classic. The pickups are too hot for my tastes. Any ideas for replacements? Yes, I'll give you one guy, get his pickups. Monty's guitars in London, the PAF style pickups that he makes are great. If you want an authentic sounding PAF, Monty's guitars. Check him out. I mentioned this a couple of times, I think even in the last episode as well. And I'm going to have him on the show, actually. We actually did a Q&A with him. And we had problems, technical problems, because he's in London. I guess the internet connection sucked. And I wasn't able to use the video content because it was glitchy all the way through. And I really was sorry to see that. But he's agreed to do it again. So I will definitely have him on again. And this time, hopefully, we won't have those problems. But he makes really killer P90 pickups. One of my favorites. I'm buying for the third time the Martin Backpacker. First was broken due to excessive tension. Second, I gave in a birthday to a niece whom hasn't played it. That sucks. The guitar sounds almost exactly as a Stradivarius. So you're buying number 3. So this time, hopefully, you'll keep it and enjoy it. You're really nice. You're a nice uncle to have given a guitar like that away. Those are pretty nice guitars to have. Does Satriani play an S series? I thought he had his own signature thing. I like the S like the Jiva. I think he is playing his own signature model. I don't think he plays. I think, well, he might have a couple of different models that he plays all the time, but he hasn't really switched the type of guitar he plays in a long time. I think he's due for an update. Biggest regret selling my 1988 yellow Kramer. Yeah, that's Kramer US guitars were great, and you know what? I would regret selling a Kramer too. I only have one Kramer in my collection, but it's a Kramer special, so it doesn't really, not really the same thing, but it's still a great guitar. One pickup, and that's it. And it plays great. The neck is great on it too. I like playing that one a lot. I did upgrade the pickup on it though, of course. Is there any difference in tones from the SC245 Korean and the 245 Indonesia? I'm not really that sure I can answer that question. I mean, they're all kind of different, right? Depends on the woods, depends on how dry the woods are. So I can't really say that I can tell you which ones sound better. There probably will be a difference. All I can tell you is the one I have here sounds really good. Let me let me just say that you can't really go wrong with the SE models. The SE models from PRS, the prices are going up. They're coming out with models now that are above the $1,000 mark for the SEs, which are pretty expensive. However, they're great guitars. They're really well built. The quality control is good. You're not really going to get a bad one unless you buy an early one, like a used early one. I wish the prices would be cheaper, but if you buy them on the used market, you can generally get one between $600 and $800 around there. And I think they're coming. They probably have over 22 different models now of SE guitars, so you're bound to find one that you like. The weak point in the SEs usually are the pickups, but that's, you're talking to somebody that normally changes pickups all the time. So what you take that with a big grain of salt, but I don't really care too much for the PRS pickups. But that's an easy upgrade. I was thinking of getting a shredder. Everyone needs one Floyd guitar, right? So if you only had one, which one? So my opinion, and this is over time, I've come to discover this about myself, is that I don't like Floyd Rose guitars anymore because they're more hassle than it's worth, in my opinion. If I had to get a shredder guitar now, I would probably go for one of the Charvels, the new models that they came out with, which don't have Floyds on them. They have a regular bridge. They look great. The only thing about those guitars is the colors. I wish they would offer more colors and stop with the fluorescent everything. At this point, we don't really need fluorescent guitars anymore, my opinion. So if they would come out with the new model that they just came out with, they have a lot of great features in terms of what they're using on their guitars. The specs are great. The contours are great. Very nice neck heel joint. I like the fact that they put the plug on the side, in the back, kind of. It looks like one of these Strat plugs, but it's on the side. Looks great. The necks, I think they're offering them in both regular maple as well as baked maple. I don't think they've put stainless steel frets on them, but that's not a biggie. Great guitars. I would look at something from those models. And also the price on those guitars is not extremely expensive. So bang for the buck, you're getting a lot of guitar for the money. And I don't like the 3 humbucker either. Just my opinion. I find the 3 humbucker makes it hard to play. You're always constantly hitting that middle humbucker. It gets in the way. Inventor, the secret in Black Beauty #1 is the extra wire without magnet in the middle pickup cavity. I don't understand what you're saying there. Extra wire without magnet in the pickup cavity. Is that some kind of a pickup mod you're talking about? Brian says, I thought the same thing and bought a shredder, barely use it. I had a Charvel San Dimas. If you go back in my videos, you'll see it. I played it a bit, I got rid of it. I didn't really bond with the Floyd. It was always like hassle, string changes, took a long time. It still would go out of tune. And I don't really use the Floyd all that much. I don't use the bridge all that much, like to do dive bombs and all those crazy things. So for me, it was overkill, and I figured stay away from Just get a guitar with a good quality bridge and you're good to go. My dog's making funny noises under the desk over here. 5150 says, I secretly want a Steel Panther Kramer. I like those guitars actually, and the paint job on those guitars are actually pretty cool. Definitely 80s. If you're going for the 80s thing, that's probably the one. I don't know if he's a true lefty or not, Fat Philosopher, but he writes with his left hand. Maybe he's ambidextrous, but he seems to say that he can do certain things with both hands, including sports. So who am I to question that? Brian says, I actually bought a Wolf guitar with a Floyd Rose special on it. Now, the Floyd Rose specials are not true Floyds. You know that, right? They're not made with the same hardened steel. So the quality is not the same. Obviously, the price is not the same. Yeah, the Charvel Steel Panther looks nice. I agree. The paint job looks pretty cool. Just for the paint. It's funny, I don't like fluorescent colors, but that guitar looks cool. It's just, it talks to me. Just, I guess, going back to my 80s passion of big hair rock guitar or metal. Any ideas of a replacement for a 50T pickup in a Les Paul that's just too hot? Cushman, I said it before. Same suggestion I made earlier. Monty's guitars. Check out the PAF style pickups that he makes. They're great. Great quality pickups. They're not cheap, but they're worth it, let me tell you. Trying to install a Wilkinson trim with 2 posts, 10mm drill, too big, 9mm, too small, 9.5mm is hard to find here in EU. 3/8 would work perfect. Another week or two waiting for an expensive tool. Sounds like the Wilkinson, yeah, it's using the American scale. Get the right tool. Obviously, it's a pain to have to wait for a 3/8 drill bit, but you're going to need it. So I'm sure it's not going to be the last guitar that you're going to work on. I've had to do the same with my tools. I have the metric and imperial sizes for Allen keys, for drill bits, and all that kind of stuff. You invest in it once, but then you have it. Just trying to catch up on the last comments here. Quicksilver says, never mind the pots. What is going to bake your noodle are lefty staggered Strat pickups, SL1 versus SL1L. I choose the SSL2 to be done with it. I'm glad I'm not left-handed. Cheers. Okay, so how do you pronounce the name? It's Jical. Jical. All right. Sorry about that. I think I got it now. Jical. Jical. All right. Yeah, the tuners too. You're right, to the tuners. Because then they're turning, yeah. Does anyone have thoughts on the D'Angelico semi-hollow mini and or the D'Angelico new solid bodies? I haven't tried them. A lot of people are interested in learning more about these models because they're great looking guitars. I haven't had the pleasure of playing one, but if anybody here has, pipe in and give Barry some feedback. That's what I meant. Sorry, Richard. Scarlet. Did I say sapphire? Why was I thinking sapphire? That's another one. Scarlet is the name of the interface that I use. Pre-slotted lefty nuts. Yeah, lefty nuts. The nuts are not going to be the same too. You're right. Favorite guitar Bruce owns is a 64 Strat, but not necessarily favorite to play. Why is that? Favorite to own, but not to play? Doesn't that go hand in hand? What do you think about the cheap Kramer Focus guitars? I think they're a good modding platform if you want to mess around with them. They're maybe a little bit more expensive than they should be because of the Kramer name, but you can do a lot with them. Gospel of Mark is working again. Got to pay the bills, Mark. Thanks for popping in. Definitely you can watch later, no problem, dude. It's all good. Every time I get a new guitar, it's my favorite for a while. Then I go back to using them all. I would say I play my SG most for nothing other than the weight. It's okay to do that. I do that too, man. Like I said earlier, like today, this one's my favorite, but tomorrow I'll be playing something else. That's the beauty of having selection. You're able to enjoy different features, different guitars, different combos at different times because your perspective on how you're playing, what you're playing, and your tastes, at least for me, will change over time. So definitely is nice to have some selection. 335s. Don't think handwriting dexterity has anything to do with it. I throw football, baseball with my right hand, kick soccer balls with my right leg, crazy hooks with the right, etc. So I guess maybe it is just a brain thing, you know, left, right brain. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. Sean's on the house. Hey, Sean. How's it going, my brother? Looking for a new interface to in with MIDI under 250 bucks. What do you and your viewers suggest? I don't use MIDI, so the one I have, the Scarlet, fits the bill. 2 ins, 2 outs. I mean, for MIDI, I don't really, a lot of, like if you're doing MIDI stuff with a keyboard, a lot of the keyboards actually come with the MIDI out. So you can go right into your computer, MIDI out, USB in, and you should be fine. So you don't really need a MIDI in for the interface, if that's what you're trying to do. Lanai, good morning. My wireless died. Had to order a new one. How did it die? The batteries just wouldn't charge anymore, I guess. Hi, Tony. Need a new interface. Yeah, I answered the question. Hopefully, if anybody else has a suggestion for Sean on the interface, just pipe in. I have 5 guitars and looking to get rid of 2 of them. The Squire 50s Classic Vibe, White Telecaster, and looking to get rid of the Wolf with the Floyd Rose Special. So if anyone is looking to buy some guitars, Brian is going to hook you up. Keith says my dad could write both left and right. Bull left or right. Brother was only left. That's what I'm saying. You know, maybe he's just a little bit ambidextrous. Is that how you pronounce it? Ambidextrous. Whatever. You know what I mean. You can use both hands. Favorite guitar? Hopefully it will become my custom, but I'm still loving my V. Let us know when that custom comes in, philosopher. I'm anxious to see it in action. Pix Gaming. How long did it take you to learn guitar to a good level? I still don't think I'm at a good level. Takes, honestly, dude, it's a lifetime of learning. You never stop learning how to play guitar. It all depends on how much time you put into it and how much effort you put into it. I say this over and over again with younger kids that want to learn and come to me and say, yeah, can you teach me something? And I'm like, yeah, but there's no shortcuts. You know, yeah, I can teach you, but it takes time. What do they say? 20,000 hours to be an expert on something? That's about right. 20,000 hours, but hopefully not spread out like 15 minutes a week or a month. If you dedicate yourself to practice solid, you'll see the improvements immediately. Like after a couple of weeks, you'll see that you're getting better. It's just a question of how long you want to improve. And, you know, the only advice I can give you is like, don't noodle stuff you already know. Try and always learn something new every day. A lot of people fall into that trap where they just play the same stuff they already know over and over again. So they stop getting better. And play with people that are better than you. I know it sucks to say this because you're going to feel embarrassed and you're going to feel shitty when you're playing with them. But if you play with someone better than you, you're going to improve. I'm telling you. It's going to improve in so many levels. And record yourself. That's another tip. Record yourself when you're playing so you can hear yourself playing. You can hear, because when you're playing your guitar, you don't really focus on listening, you focus on playing. When you record yourself, it's almost like when you record yourself speaking for the first time, your voice sounds really weird to yourself. Same thing with your guitar. You think you're playing better than you are, then you record it and listen back, and you can definitely hear all of the little mistakes you're making, you know. And definitely focus on emotion, feeling, and passion. A lot of people focus on playing fast, focus on emotion, feeling, passion, and try to play your guitar phrases like you're singing. A lot of people, again, will just like, you know, blurt out a bunch of notes without necessarily having a coherent phrase. And if you play like you're singing, in other words, take breaks like between the notes. Like a singer doesn't constantly sing. You have to stop to breathe and inhale and then exhale and then breathe. So if you stay aware of your breathing as you're playing and try and play when you're exhaling and kind of giving yourself a little bit more space when you're inhaling, it kind of breaks up the phrases a little bit more, allows you to feel the groove a little bit more, and always play with a metronome. Those are my tips for today. Thank you. Try the veal. Just kidding. Have you tried the Positive Grid amp? I received one about a month ago. I really like the app interface. Your thoughts? I haven't. I've reached out to those guys many times, and they haven't ever responded. So maybe I'm not popular enough on YouTube, whatever. I wanted to try it out and review it. I haven't had the opportunity, but a lot of people love it. And it seems like a lot of people think it's a great device. So maybe one day I'll get a chance to do that and check it out for you guys. All right, guys, it's 2 o'clock. I've been on, sorry, what am I saying 2 o'clock? It's 2 hours that I've been on. It's 12 o'clock. It's time for me to go. My son's going to be waiting for me. We got to do some archery today. And it's lunchtime, so we got to get cracking. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I really had a great time. Love, love, love talking with all of you guys on Sundays. Definitely look forward to that all the time. There's going to be more videos coming your way. I'll give you a little, I'll just leave you with a little teaser. All right, just a little teaser. There we go. How's that? Just to give you an idea of what might be coming this week. Some more upgrades. So stay tuned for those videos right here on Addicted to Gear. Give me all your comments, guys. Grab some swag if you want to support the channel. Discount codes below, as usual. Get a 10% discount. And that's it. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here on Sunday. Have a great week, and we'll be back here next Sunday, same time. All right? Have a good one, guys. Ciao for now.